Hey everyone, hey Wellness Crew, and welcome to today's reading of the Gene Keys Golden Path Love, a Guide to Your Venus Sequence. We are getting close to the end of this book, so yeah, we're getting close to the end. That's awesome. Been doing this for a while. Touch and identity, being without movement. The first sense to develop in the womb, and therefore the final sense to transcend, is our sense of touch. Our ability to sense through touch develops as early as the end of the first trimester. We might restate Descartes' famous axiom as I touch, therefore I am, because it is this earliest sense that allows us to differentiate our perceived sense of separateness in the world. Touch gives us an identity, and touch is linked to movement. Without movement, we can lose our sense of touch and therefore our sense of identity. This is why those who have attained realization have always done so through physical stillness or meditation. At a certain stage of our spiritual evolution, the state of absorption becomes so all-embracing that we no longer have an urge to move, but spontaneously enter into prolonged states of physical stillness. It is in this stillness that our awareness finally ceases to be our awareness, but is shown to be the connective tissue of consciousness itself. We rest in a state of pure being, beyond identity and meaning. The flowering of the rainbow body. The process of sealing the five senses, described above, varies in subtlety and in its nuances, and timing depending on each person. For some, it may happen over an extended period of time, while for others, it may even occur spontaneously in a thunderbolt flash from the heavens. There are no rules at this level of awareness. Realization is a burgeoning of our fullest being. In the allegory of the Venus sequence, we have seen each of the pathways and spheres symbolically represented through the passage of water in nature. We begin with the underground water of the pathway of Dharma, which flows upwards as a geyser through the sphere of attraction. This in turn becomes the spring of the IQ, the rushing rapids and alternating quiet pools of the pathway of intelligence, and the breakthrough of the flood in the pathway of love. In the sphere of the SQ, the river metaphorically meets the ocean as we open our hearts in unconditional love. Here in the pathway of realization, our journey attains its final flowering as the rainbow, the symbolic transcendence. Many cultures have described this process of the final flowering of our consciousness into the so-called rainbow body. In terms of our DNA, it seems to be a hidden higher programming function wired into every human being. In the gene key synthesis, it is referred to as the process of embodiment, and it is described through the teachings of the Corpus Christi in the 22nd gene key. We tap into a universal energy pattern known as the torus. The torus is a dynamic geometric representation of life itself. It describes an infinite process of energetic flowering from one dimension to another. This process is perpetual because the energy within this model is able to feed off itself without any leakage, a process as yet inconceivable to modern physics. At the same time, the state of permanent unconditional love is also inconceivable to most people. The pathway of realization, like all the pathways of the Venus sequence, is a metaphor for an inner journey, and that journey takes us into the heart of our suffering. Unless we are willing to journey to this place, true realization will remain a phantom and a dream to us. Before we even consider such a process, we must come into alignment with the sacred wound inside us, and as we do so, we will come into a state of individuation. The state of individuation was described in the introduction to this book. It is a state of openness and vulnerability that is rooted in a deep core stability. Once we have become grounded in our individuation, then this pathway of realization opens us up to the potential of attaining another dimension of core stability, one in which our anchor shifts from our individuality and is transferred to the one point, the holographic center of the universe itself. 12. The sphere of your core. The sphere of your core. Embracing the sacred wound within. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate that. Now we arrive at the hologenetic center of our being in this lifetime, the sphere of your core. In fact, each of the 11 spheres of your profile represents the center of your being. Like a series of Russian dolls, each sphere is a portal to a deeper level of being and purpose. In this sense, it would be wrong to think of them as a linear sequence. They open within each other as our awareness reaches deeper into the nature of our being. The sphere of your core is the nexus of the sacred wound that you carry in this life. This wound connects you to all other human beings. It drives your evolution, and it is the very heart of your suffering. To bring full awareness into your core wound is to awaken fully to your limitless potential. Some of us, quite understandably, do not like the idea of being wounded. Perhaps we feel healthy and happy most of the time, so why all this talk of suffering and wounding? Anyone who has looked inwardly at his or her own life will soon come into contact with their wound. Some people can feel it in a specific location within their body, while others know it as a deep sense of dissatisfaction or unease that lies beneath our conscious awareness. Some wear their wound openly due to an ailment or accident that they may have had or even been born with. We all carry some kind of wounding. Even the young child carries the sacred wound as a seed that will inevitably find its way into the world. One of the great revelations of the Venus sequence is that our wounds are here to serve our higher purpose, so we need not flinch away from them. Once you begin to come more deeply in touch with your specific wounding pattern, rather than getting weaker, you will become inwardly stronger. Even though you may go through difficult and vulnerable periods, you will discover that the living transmission of the Venus stream is most definitely on your side. Your consciousness will expand in relation to your willingness to embrace your wound. Up until this point in your Venus sequence, the emphasis on your wounding patterns has been on your relationships. This is because the mirror of our relationships help bring awareness to the patterns most clearly and swiftly. However, as we dive into the deepest heart of the pattern, we move into the heart of our aloneness. This is a personal part of the journey whose implications lie deeper even than the outer love we have in the world. It takes a great deal of courage to bring your full awareness to this sphere of the core wound. Thank you so much for joining me for today's live stream. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and or join one of the membership tiers as it is popping off with content. And I'll see you on the next video or live stream. Be well, stay wild as well.